have this budget now that's been passed that's running at a deficit, so to speak, and you think if it runs its purpose, it will create the jobs even at a deficit?
Oh yes, let us. What if you remove the blockades from in that budget? Will be home and good. A good example, for instance, is the presidency as it is has spent a large chunk of funds feeding the occupants, running to billions of naira. Now, I don't think GMB will go for that. About 2 weeks ago, it was in the social media, sipping 20 million coffee, Milo, which is vice president. It was big news kind of in the media that the president is coming with a lean, with a lean budgetary framework. This is what we need. I wonder if, for instance, those in the presidency feed on elephants or buffalo, and you spend billions of naira, on that alone. Analysis of the outgoing regime's offer on the table as far as budget is concerned is that the vice president office, for instance, is spending about 49 million naira reading newspapers, for God's sake. What are they reading? These are the issues. And can you get the quality of what they read from what they tell you when they speak, when they address the public?
Trying to look at the future, which for this incoming administration is what we're trying to look at. And if you say first 100 days in office would see most public officers publicly declaring their assets and doing a whole lot. Have you been able to look at this talk about fighting corruption? If you're a member of GMB support group, a group that supported the general coming to this particular victorious moment, how else have you been able to draw from him and those around him that when they talk about fight against corruption, they truly can handle all of that?
Oh, that's a very good one. I was taking a lot on him when this came on board. And I recall very clearly on the 22nd of December last year, 2014, in his private residence in Kaduna, this question came up before he endorsed us. And he said, look, it's going to draw a thin line, okay? Because basically Nigerians and institutions are largely compromised. That's the reality. People, we may want to focus on positions and current and previous public office holders, but in reality, the average Nigerian on the streets, we have lost our values, so to speak. So the big man is saying, look, we're going to draw a thin line. Now, it is not going to be business as usual. If I win, and once I form my government. Now, for those who have done X, Y, Z before we came on board, one thing will apply. If your case gets to the judiciary, to the court, go and face the consequence. And in recent times, there were clear attempts to give soft landing for those who must have done one thing or the other, asking them to bring whatever is left of the loot they have taken to the public treasury. I think that's the best way to go. So coming to what the budget can do, if well managed and transparently done, is that for the 2015 budget, we have sent a list on your programs and on other media saying, look, there are serious abuses in this budget. Let us take the first step to check all that. For instance, if the National Assembly takes 25% of the budget, can this be cut down to something reasonable?
Now that's the question. Yeah. I mean, you're just taking the words right out of my mouth, because I'm looking at some parts of the manifesto which has to do with amending the Constitution, dealing with the National Assembly as well. And, right now he says he's not even interfering in terms of how the National Assembly is choosing its leadership. It's debatable. But then you ask, how then is he going to get things passed or done in the National Assembly?
Thank you. This man won his election on the platter of popular support. Okay. So what will happen is he's going to enjoy maximum honeymoon. Okay, on forming his government. Then two.
You really see a situation where he'll enjoy maximum honeymoon?
Yeah, I do.
Because we're also talking about a situation where it was a closely contested election.
No. I'm talking of a new president from an opposition party after 16 years of a ruling party, occupying the political space. So a lot is going to change. He ruled on the mantra of change. Nigerians wanted change, and that happened eventually. Now, I put that aside. We were going to commit a political harakiri until we were called to order the GMB support group particularly, and a whole lot of other support groups in the country and outside the country were focusing on GMB. Until my conference said, look, you guys are committing serious blunders. You must ensure that GMB has a kind of national institution, okay, populated by his political party that can also give him whatever is necessary for him to skate through. So ultimately, we were also involved in campaigns for people contesting for Senate and House of Reps, okay, and House of Assembly and governors. And so, give or take, today APC is in the majority across this broad line. So, the only move would be drawn from that perspective.
What if there's no honeymoon? You're banking on some sort of honeymoon. What if there's none? People have been elected for different reasons. People have offered themselves, for elective positions for different reasons. Okay. If all of a sudden the National Assembly is not as juicy as they thought it was going to be, okay, or some of these positions are not as juicy, because of the, some of the decisions being taken by the executive. Okay. How do you see him getting that cooperation?
This is the role of the political party. Now, what you're talking will be more scary if, for instance, the outgoing political party is in the majority in the National Assembly. Then I'll be scared, more than you are. In fact, I'll agree with you totally. Now, the political party where they come from has a major role to play here, and you can see some form of tranquility, across board as we speak. What you're talking about would have been the case if PDP were in the majority in the Senate and House of Reps.
So you're saying that everybody in the APC is aligned in the same area, and this is also regardless of whether or not some people are.
This is the role the party will play. Mm-hmm. This is the role APC will play. And don't forget, this party emerged as a one party, as a party controlling just one state in Nigeria, as at 2007. Now, by 2011, they got some other states and got Senate seats and House of Reps seats outside their region. Okay. And by 2011, there was a kind of improvement today. The so-called AC, now with CPC and ABGA from Imo State and EMPP from, come together to create a strong, political movement that has been able to chase. So a lot is going to come to bear. For instance, is a pronouncement that is going to have any influence on, is going to influence who emerges as the National Assembly leadership for this
Well, I'm not trying to go into all of that now. I'm still on the manifesto, the agenda, because I wanted you, as a member of the GMB support group, not as a member of the APC, you say you're not a member of the APC, to give us what you think you would love to see someone you have supported do. So in setting up an agenda, your own template, what would you love to see him do in the first 100 days?
Yeah, we as a group, we are very around is manifesto, which border on good governance. Now, if you break this down further, it's talking about economic development, okay, talking about security, and of course, anti-corruption. Okay, so we align fully with these pronouncements, and the processes that will allow him to drive these key issues home are things we hold very dear. Now, for instance, for economic development, it's going to get this done from agriculture and mining, okay, the industrialization and ICT, to be able to affect e-governance, and good control of the system. Now, so bring those four on board. Once he has the kind of environment to drive this for home, economic development will be achieved within a very short time. You can begin to see some kind of grace, in that direction. And also look at the quality of world leaders who have come to pay visits in the Defense House in the last 1 or 2 weeks. Just yesterday also, Tony Blair was there, and he expects to visit John Kerry and others. So these world leaders have also made very strong statements as far as President is concerned. They are saying, look, we're going to rally around you to ensure that Nigeria gets it right this time around. This is key because the Boko Haram and ISIS linkage, okay, can completely destabilize West Africa as a whole, and Nigeria is a target here. So the world leaders have no choice, really, than to run him and get him sort these things out. Coming from his military background. So give or take economic development, we're very sure that it's on top of that. Now, for the security, guys, we have a new sheriff in town. As a young boy in 1984, I was in Maiduguri where I schooled in what is now called the Brigadier General Army Training School. This was the period when Itasime, was notorious in Borno State, in the then Gongola State, which is Adamawa now, and of course in Kano. As head of state, he took the gauntlet and fought this, frontally. So from that background, we are sure that GMB would put our security problems behind us within 6 months. And finally, looking at what we could call for the corruption, again, he has done this before. As head of state in 1984, and today the average Nigerian knows GMB to be one of his words, and somebody who is not frivolous and not too necessarily a capitalist. So having chosen these three programs for Nigeria, for me, I think we can give him the opportunity. 60 days of this, down the line, will be good to go.
Well, Mohammed Adebola, I would like to thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you.
Well, he's of the GMB support group. That is where we say many thanks for being such a nice company today on the program. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Well, thank you for watching. I was that it was Friday again. I'm Malkwe Ogun.
And I'm Neil Taigbe. Thank you for watching.
See you again.